Hello everyone. In previous lecture, I have already taught about the chapter that is the ecosystem. In that we have already started a topic that is the components of ecosystem. There are two groups. The first group determines the non-living components of our surrounding or environment that includes the water, air, soil, inorganic nutrients and sometimes temperatures. Now the second group that are basically the living components which includes the autotrophs and the second heterotrophs, in which the heterotrophs are subclassified into few further groups. Basically the heterotrophs are divided into two types. The first one is the consumer and the second one is the decomposer. So the consumer is subdivided into three types. The first one is the herbivores, second one is the carnivores and the third one is omnivores. So we will study about this topic in brief. Now starting with the consumer. So what is this consumer? So consumers are basically these organisms which mainly obtain food directly from the autotrophs. That means directly they obtain food from the plants. Basically the cow, they take food or basically the nutrients from the grass. Grass is basically a plant and it is a autotrophs. Or they can directly indirectly take food from other heterotrophs, like we human basically give food to the consumer. Now you have a pet dog, so the dog is feeded by ourselves, that is humans. Now the second term, that is the consumer, is subdivided into three parts. That is the first one is the herbivores, carnivores and the omnivores. So these we have already started studying in 4 5 class. Now herbivores are basically those organisms or those animals that only feeds on the plant, and these are basically also known by as a primary consumers. The carnivores are basically the animals that eat animals, so those organisms which feed only on other animals. So basically they eat other animals, so they are also called the secondary consumer. So where are this primary consumer are? So in carnivores, sometimes many animals or many carnivores which feed on only on herbivores. So those carnivores animals are called basically primary consumer. Sorry, primary carnivores. Now is the topic omnivores. The omnivores are basically those animals, or there are some animals that only feed on both plants and animals. As we human, we also eat spinach as a plant, and we also eat chicken meat as an animals. So we are in the category of omnivores. Now starting with the example of herbivores and carnivores, you have already seen of examples of herbivores in your surrounding. If you able to see the goat, or if you talk about the deer, rabbit, horse and some many like sheep and etc and etc. So these animals are basically herbivores. They only feed on the plants. They basically eat only grass or plants for their survival. Now in the carnivores, the animals such as the frog, cat, or also include sometimes spider. So these type of animals are basically carnivores. They basically eat small insects or some small animals for their survival. Now the third one, that is the omnivores. So example of the omnivores are the animals such as the bear, monkey, squirrel and we humans. You have already seen in some stories that bear also eat honey, or bear also eat some meat from other animals. Squirrel have the same, and we humans, as we also eat spinach as a plant and sometimes meat as a animal. Now the third one, or we can say the last topic about this heterotrophs, that is the decomposer. So decomposer are these basically, this is a group that includes the microorganism, which includes such as bacteria and fungi. So these bacteria and fungi obtain their nutrients by breaking down of the remains of dead plants and animals. If some dead plants and animals are buried or underground the soil, then it start decomposing. So they basically give growth to the bacteria and fungi, and they start breaking down the dead plant and animals into small particles, and they eat basically and take nutrients from dead plants and animals. So these are basically the decomposers. They basically decompose the dead body or dead plants for their survival. So this was about the heterotrophs and the sub-classified groups. In the next video we will understand about the vermicomposting, and we will also look at the activity of the vermicomposting. So till then, thanks for watching.